Perfect. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to another session of Women Rising. It's November already. I don't know where the time has gone. We have today Ida, and I will try to say this correct, Ida Špacapan.
Yeah, great, amazing.
Ida has worked a lot with embodiment. She does embodiment coaching. She's also a counselor. She works a lot in nature. She works a lot with individuals, but also mainly with groups. And she's a performer. So she does a number of things in the performing arts. And today the subject is how to own our cycles and live our natural rhythms.
Yes.
So I'll hand it over to you, Ida. It's very good to have you with us.
Thank you. And very warm welcome to the others. So today we are going to talk about cycles and rhythms, and we're going to experience a bit of these topics. So yeah, as I mentioned, today with me is also Eva. Me and Eva know each other. We have been working together as well, and yeah, I think you already know her from some of the previous sessions. Okay, but just before we dive in, I would really like to invite you to really arrive, to take a few moments to come here, and then we go further. You can take your gaze back from the screen. You don't have to look at the screen. If you want, you can close your eyes, or maybe just lower your gaze. Find a comfortable position and feel the support you are given by a chair, bed, cushions. Relax your belly. Relax your face. Allow yourself to arrive here and now. Noticing what is present for you right now. And you can take a deep breath and just sigh it out. Okay. Okay, I invite you to come back to the screen. Look at the people that are present here with us. Smile. Okay. Yeah, so cycles and rhythms. First of all, I would like you to type in the chat the first thing that comes into your mind when you hear about cycles and rhythms. What are your associations? Maybe 1, 2, or 3. If you can type them in the chat, let's explore a bit. Today's session will be exploring, of course, as well as answering some questions, telling personal stories, reflecting. Okay. Yeah, the doggy. I have seen it. Yeah, mine is also here, sitting behind me. Okay, the moon, nature, life, tides. Anything else that comes to your mind? Wholeness, law. Menstrual cycle, yes. Okay, when I was asking myself this question, how to live my natural rhythms, there was this certain answer of I name them tools. And I think these tools are ancient because if I think about the history and how did people gazed into the stars, how they gazed into the moon, how they observed the sun, the tides, the seasons. These tools are very appropriate for today, for our personal use as well, and they are awareness, observation, and documenting. And yeah, and these tools helped me as well in observing my own cycles and rhythms, and I'm sure we are going to come back to them. But yeah, now I have a question for you. What are you already wrote some cycles in the chat, but maybe let's explore a bit further, and let's stay focused on the outer, how can I say, yeah, the outer cycles we observe in our world, in our outer world, besides the moon, the tides. What in nature is cycling, if we can be more specific? Yes.
Well, I was very aware today and the last few days because time has changed also, and it gets darker way earlier. And I had a friend visit me from the north, and he said, "Wow, it gets so dark here. When it's dark, it's really like the night comes so fast." So it's the time of year that I'm getting very aware that the days are becoming shorter and the night is longer, and the temperature is also changing. It's just this flow into winter.
Mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm. Yeah, and that is actually, I could say these are like two cycles: the cycle of the earth spinning around, and also the cycle of the sun, right? Because less sun, more darkness. Yes. The seasons, yes. What about if we widen our perspective to the space, to the cosmos? What kind of cycles there are, or we could explore and observe? You can unmute and just go ahead. We shouldn't be shy. Release the shyness out of the door. Hmm. Or maybe I will invite Eva in this moment to share a bit with us on this cosmic, because I know, Eva, you are very interested in that, and you know a lot about in that, and you research that. Can you share with us about this cosmic cycling and rhythms?
Yeah, that quote that we were talking about, maybe to include it. I just pulled it out, and I was thinking, where could I include it? And I think it would be now a good time to read it for you. It's a quote from Josh Fry. Maybe you know him from the Emerald podcast, and it's one about pulse and rhythm and the whole spectrum where we can observe this natural law, so to say. So I'll read it. The body is a symphony of overlapping rhythms. It's not only the heart that pulses. The lungs expand and contract with every breath. The cerebrospinal fluid that surrounds the brain and spinal cord, it pulses too. The bones of the skull pulse. Every cell pulses as it respires. A pulsing body moves with pulsing steps through a world of pulsing tides and pulsing seasons, a world that pulses between day and night, hot and cold, in a universe that collapses in on itself and expands out from itself in an internal rhythm. So yeah, it's that on every layer of our life or our being, there is this natural law of expansion and contraction. And you were asking about the cosmic laws. It's like the as far as scientists got to as far as they came with that idea, they say that the universe got born out of that expansion, and it will come again in itself. Yeah.
Yeah, and with that, with you saying that, what really comes to my mind is as without, so within, right?
As above, so below.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We are made of stars, right? So actually we expand and contract as does the universe. And as does the universe, so do we. And now let's name some of the rhythms that we have, that are innate to us as embodied creatures. One we already named, menstrual cycle. But what rhythms can we observe inside of us, our bodily rhythms?
Breath.
Yeah, sorry.
Breath.
Rest.
Breath.
Breath. Yeah, okay. Breath. Yeah. Breath. What else? Yeah, circadian
Blood cycles. Your blood changes.
Yeah. What else that it's connected to the blood?
Energy.
It's something about in our chest.
The heartbeat.
Yes. This is our primary beat. We are born with it. Or maybe it's Maybelline. No. Okay. Yeah. Breath, heart rhythm, circadian rhythm. Yeah, sleep and wakeness. These are all our inner rhythms, how our blood flows, how our cells pulsate. Yeah. Okay, great. And now that we covered inner and outer rhythms, I would invite us into a bit of self-reflection. Just to think about, or for a moment, where in your daily, monthly, yearly life rhythm are you right now? In a means of just stopping and checking. Okay, so it's evening, which time of the year? How does this come into the place with my life? A bit of a check-in with yourself. Okay. How was that? The passing year. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I would like to invite Eva, you to share a bit of your story. Why even bother with rhythms and cycles. Why do we do this? And how does it help?
Yeah. Why to even bother about it? Well, as you mentioned, or as we mentioned at the beginning, it's some kind of natural law, and I mean, if you are following these laws, your life is easier because you're not swimming against the current. So, but for me, for example, or for me, and as I see with a lot of people in our society, what this what the cycles, what the following this natural law can give us is the other half that we are maybe not so aware of it. We are really good at working, at progressing, and building, at being better and doing more, but we are not so good in the other half of it, like finishing things or resting or reflecting, or we don't take so much time for that. So one thing that I really learned by observing the cycles is that I took more time for that part as well. And the consequence was, as I'm observing it in a new way, in another layer right now at the moment, in this era of my life, is that it really helps me to expand time. It sounds maybe a little bit strange, but I will explain. So when you're all the time on this, doing more and more and more and more, you have also more and more and more obligations, more and more duties, more and more things to do. But when you are aware of taking time to rest, to pause, you need to put something aside. And by putting something aside, you have less things and you have more time for that things. So it's really that sense, really that embodied sense of expansion of time. You now can stop and appreciate and observe things that are in front of you, not being all the time somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How about you, Ida?
Yeah, it is similar. For me, through whole life, I have had like some awareness of cycles and rhythms because they were so apparent, especially when you live close to the nature or with nature, right? When you are connected. But then the realization, like cognitive realization, came when we did the seasons in Keck. And that really gave me like an insight of, okay, I have other needs than the need for production and for high energy. I have a need to rest. And it came like, okay, I can allow myself to rest. And when you were talking about the rest and the time stopping, and I thought about death, because death is a part of a cycle, right? It's life and death and life and death and a puppy. And yeah, and how the when that comes, not just in a way when someone dies, but in the season of winter or in the season of rest, nothing is important. I mean, nothing is so important. And yeah, this realization, it really gave me an opportunity to accept that, to accept rest, to accept winter, to accept rest, and to accept that if I don't rest, how can I create? How do I know what to create if I don't rest, right? And I think this is very yeah, it is connected to observing and being aware how the seasons change, and not just on the inside but also on the not just on the outside but also on the inside. Yeah. And you were talking before about this cosmic flow and how the whole cosmos is flowing and vibrating, and as well as that this has an influence on our bodies, on our cells. Do you have any, how can I say, personal experience on that? Some kind of a, how do you feel that, Eva?
The cosmic influence, you mean?
Yeah, the you know, the awareness of this cosmos that is vibrating, how does that reflect on your day-to-day experience? Not just
Okay.
by, you know, constellations, but also how does this inform you?
Yeah. Yeah, so I will just give a little bit of a frame that you actually asked me before, but I didn't answer completely how I started or where I started to observe rhythms. For me, it was the menstrual cycle many years ago. And at that time, I really had, it wasn't like, oh, I need to figure it out and I want to follow and I want to make notes about it. I was like, I had a friend that she was really into it, and I was like, okay, if she's constantly talking about it, well, maybe I can just follow my cycle as well alongside. So I wasn't really focused about it, but it was like always on the background of my awareness to follow that. And I was observing, or I was really being aware of that for many years. And later then with EFC, with CAC, I added this model of cycles. And then I started to add in the observation, or I focus maybe each year on some other layer of some other cycle in nature or in my body. Once it was maybe a breath, then it was seasons, daily cycle, and maybe now half a year or something, a little bit more than half year, I'm observing the influence of lunar cycle, for example, on my body and my how on my body, but also on how I approach things. And now, after a few months, I can say that I was really skeptical actually about that. I know that it influences the body, the waters in the body, but I was like, but this is so far away and it's up in the sky, and maybe it's not so obvious. But what I noticed, and I'm trying to follow that, is that from the new moon on, I can really be productive and fresh, and I have ideas and I can put things out. And I also want to say that I don't read anything about the moon and how, those Instagram posts about what you need to do on the full moon or what you need to do on the new moon. I really want to push that aside and get my own experience. But yeah, I actually noticed now that if I want to do something, I will do it in the first 2 weeks after the new moon, and then of course I don't finish everything in these 2 weeks, and I want to push it on after the new moon. but it's so tiring. It's really so tiring to push on that second half of the cycle. Because I mean, I don't know because, but it's I feel that something changes in the way how things flow, just simply how things flow. And if I take in, so if I take time and I take a step back and maybe put aside those unfinished commitments, I can really enjoy these 2 weeks. Otherwise, I can be frustrated for 2 weeks until the new moon comes again. Yeah, this is just this is actually the most surprising thing, and observing the correlation between moon and myself. It's the most surprising thing that I ever experienced in this exploration. And I want to also say that I'm still aware that there are these different cycles, especially with women who are menstruating. The menstrual cycle and the lunar cycle can go together, or they can go a little bit in this, not really in synchronized waves. But I can, because I know my menstrual cycle so well, I can see what is the influence of that and what is the influence from the moon. And it also, in this few more than half a year, my menstrual cycles also switched. So for some months I had I was bleeding on the full moon, and for some months I was bleeding on the new moon. So I can see the difference. But that one thing, it's still the same, and I assume that this is from the moon.
Yeah, we can have like different you know, this how do you say, like these waves of cycles. We have different cycles and they don't have to be synchronized, right? They can be like woo, 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 or make it and sometimes they are synchronized, right? And yeah, what I wanted to say is that everything that we are talking about, it kind of leads me to the question, or to the theme, that is capitalism and cyclical living, which is which is I mean, obviously, capitalism as such does not support this kind of living, because it's like more and more, and yes, we like capitalism treats people and earth as they have infinitive sources, but this is not true, right? Maybe some thoughts on that, Eva?
Yeah. Yeah, I remembered when we talked about this, and like the way how we are as a society, how we are pushed to live in this linear that linear way. It's very narrow vision.
Mhm.
I think every one of us experienced at some point in life that if we just went up, at some point the turn came in one way or another. Maybe your body let you down. Maybe you the work that you were on wasn't come to the completion, or there was something that that really obviously shows that it can't go that way. We can go against these natural laws. So yeah, if we look at the cycle in just one part, it can seem that this can go on forever. But if we widen our perspective, it will always come to that flow and wave-like wave-like going of things of life. Yeah.
Yeah. And when addressing these shapes, I think of a circle, and the circle sometimes can be, confused as something, going in circles, as that you are stuck in something. And maybe what is one step further from that, because seasons, they are the same each year, right? But nothing stays the same. So from circle perspective, maybe we can think about the spiral perspective.
Yeah. It's we always a lot of this narrative is about the cyclical nature, and this is again, it's one perspective of that. But if we shift the perspective sideways, this is not anymore a circle, but it's a spiral, and the spiral is a wave looking from the side, right? So this is what we call that's why we call it rhythms as well, or that's why we address rhythms as well, because it's not that just that cycle that it's repeating itself, because it's not the same every time. Each time we advance a little bit on a different spot, and although it's similar, it's new, it's something else. Yeah. So we are adding this dimension of time in that with the rhythms. Yeah.
Yeah. And what would you say that it's difference between a rhythm and a cycle from your observation?
Yeah, I mean, what I already said, like that the cycle is maybe more simple model, because you have this structure, so to say. But and then with the rhythm, you're adding something new each round of the cycle. So you're aware that you are at the same part of the cycle, but you're not on the same spot in the rhythm, in time, in space, in your life. You already learned something. It's not that you need to repeat the lessons over and over, but each time you go around, you learn something new, and you can add to that.
Yeah. I would like to open space for your questions, comments, sharing. If you would like, very welcome to ask us something or to share something from your personal observation. You can unmute yourself.
Maybe a question about the beautiful quote that Eva shared earlier. And thank you for the quote. I really loved it, about the pulsing universe. Maybe Eva or Ida, can you speak about your experience of this connection with the even broader cycles and rhythms of the whole cosmos or the whole universe? Because sometimes it can be quite hard to tap into that. Maybe Eva, you can speak to your experience about the course with Josh Fry, and maybe any tips and tricks about how to connect with this bigger whole. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanya.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a really big topic, and I think I still think that it's easier to start in ourselves or in our environment, because it's to go out, to go in the cosmos. I think it's good to also include that perspective, but maybe it's a little bit more, it's a little bit further, even just in the in our imagination. We often left this part out. But what I do about it, or how I practice it, or remember that, is it's by honoring ancestors, because this reminds me of the vastness of cosmos. That is again this perspective of time. That there were people here before me, that and that the cosmos, the space, was in a slightly different constellation, and it helped me to expand in that perspective of also the cosmos, the planets, the stars are changing, they are going in their own rhythm, they're moving in their own rhythm, and like those things that are close to us influences on us. Also, those that are further away has some influence. And yeah, especially about that time, time awareness, time perspective. This really helped me to, when I was impatient, or when I am impatient, or when I want to push things further now, it helps me to, okay, it's not just me, it's not just about my life here, but maybe I will start something in my life, and my those that came after me, they will finish. So it's not a waste of time if I don't do everything now. And this really helps me to be more present here and now with whatever I do. And it's not, I am not impatient if I don't do everything. No.
Thank you. Virginia asked, can you speak a bit about how we can use this notion in our lives? Like what Eva was talking about, the rhythms and the cycles.
Yeah, so it's a model of cycles and seasons that I think it was like designed by Mark Walsh, and it's maybe we can do a little practice of this model. Yeah. So it has. Are you okay, Ida, if I leave that, or yeah? Okay. So we have in that model we have 4 stages. It's we can look at it as seasons, like spring, summer, autumn, winter. It can be also part of the breath, the bottom of exhale, inhale, the bottom of inhale, and the exhale. So it's a beginning, spring as a beginning, and then summer as doing, as like the top of the inhale, full of energy, full of outburst, and then like ending, reflecting in autumn, and winter, rest. So let's do that by first by standing up, and maybe Ida, you can then lead with the breath. Yeah. Okay. So just stand up from the chair, or if you don't want to stand up, you can if you're somewhere else, you can lay down or just move something, and then come back down. Okay. And do that again. And sit down. Okay, Virginia. you can do the practice by just I don't know, brushing the cat. Yeah, you can do it whatever. And how you start, how you prepare yourself to stand up. And then when you are standing, how you do that? Is it how does it feel to stand? Is it, oh, I want to go back, or I was just resting and being comfortable, or it's, oh, nice, I can now move around and bring my energy up a little bit.
Mm.
And then how you're going back to sitting. Is it like, are you aware of the transition between standing and sitting down? And how you are when you sit down, is that alertness of, oh, I want to stand again, or maybe what is the next um, what will the next direction be, or is, oh, finally I needed that. And then when you're sitting down, can you really relax here, or is like, again, I want to get more, or what's the next thing? So this is one very, very simple way of looking at it and embodying it. There is another one with breath that I really like. Maybe Ida, you want to?
Yeah. Yeah, let's try that with breath. And maybe you can imagine when you are breathing at the start of the exercise, connecting your breath to moon cycle. So let me explain. As you will take a breath, like when you are taking a breath, the moon is filling up. So it's fattening, and then at the peak of the breath, at that peak moment, the moon is full. And then when you start to exhale, the moon is starting to get thinner. It's getting smaller until at the end of the breath, she is gone. I mean, she's black. There is a new moon, right? And then again, with the next breath, the moon is fattening up, becoming a full, and then you go into the exhale and you observe, okay? Just little instructions before we start. And now I invite you to maybe look away from the screen and just take a comfortable posture so you can really have these deep belly breaths. And when you are ready, you can start breathing in your own pace. And yeah, have this visual representation of the moon before you. When you are taking the breath in, the moon is becoming larger and larger. And at the peak of the in-breath, she becomes full, as your belly does, as your lungs does. And when you start to exhaling, the moon is getting smaller and smaller until there is none of it. And that is the peak of an exhale. And then again, with an inhale, the moon starts growing, and so on. Stay with it for a couple of cycles in your own rhythm. And I invite you to observe which part of the cycle is familiar. Which part of the cycle you like the most, and which part of the cycle you don't like so much, or is not so familiar? Which part of the cycle you relate to right now? And you would like to stay a bit longer if it was possible. Maybe allow staying a bit longer in that part. Inhale is the beginning, and there the moon growing till it's full, and then going tightening. With an exhale, it's getting smaller. And then at the peak of an exhale, she's resting. You cannot see her in the sky. She takes a rest, and then slowly, day by day, she starts growing and growing and growing. And then she is full. She has completed her mission. She is bright, and now she can descend into the darkness again. And she becomes less and less bright. And then again, she comes into the darkness where she rests. And she must take this rest, because if she does not rest, how will she grow? And it's the same with a seedling. In the autumn, the seedling goes into the soil, it rests, collecting powers, nutritions. And then on the spring, the seedling starts to grow, reaching for the sun, reaching for the light. And at the peak of the summer, when the summer almost goes into the autumn, the seedling has made his life purpose come true. Maybe the first year, maybe the second, maybe after 100 years. And then it's time to go back into the earth, to take a rest. Okay. I invite you back for a bit, and then we will let you rest for today. How was that? What did you notice? You can type or you can unmute yourself. Did you notice what part? Yeah, go on.
I've never really visualized the moon doing breath work like that before, which was quite nice. But I felt more comfortable in the breath out stage. But I think that's because I'm feeling really tired, and it's coming up to winter, isn't it? So I think I'm in that sort of stage. So that's sort of, yeah, that was good. It was nice. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Yeah. So this is when we tune into I mean, just into the breath, when we tune into a breath work in that, with that focus, it can give us information, right? Okay, so breathing out, collapsing, okay, that is information. What do I need? What does my body need? What do I need? Or what is happening around me, right? And not just inside me. Of course, it's winter is coming, and it's natural that we prefer more. I don't know, maybe it could be different if we were doing this in the morning. I really invite you to try this exercise in the different parts of the day. and really observe which part of the breath or even the image you find closer, you find it's more appealing to you in that moment.
Can I butt in? I love what Beata is sharing in the chat. She says, guess summer, multiple ideas, how to use direction, light, etc. Also for somatic work. And that's different, like to get enough air with bigger inhales, but also to breathe out fully. And it can be used in context. So that's what I was referring to before, and you're familiar with this concept. This can be applied when you start a new project, when you go to a place. There is, you know, most people will find they do one part of the cycle very well, like maybe they go straight into summer with full guns blazing, and then they really get burnt out, or they don't take the autumn side to pause, reflect, kind of integrate the experience. So usually in different situations, I think we have, each of us, a tendency to go towards one part. And being aware of that can help us make some more conscious choices.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Virginia and Beate. And this on how completing the part is so important, right? Because if I don't complete it, something will stay, and then it gets stuck, and then it kind of builds up. And what is this, the residual that's built up? This is something that keeps me stuck, and the cycle cannot move further, right? Okay. Eva, would you like to add something, or any comments, or for the ending?
Yeah, I also really like this exercise. I didn't done it before like that with the moon, and it made me think of it made me remember again how versatile, how many ways, how versatile we can use the breath. It can really teaches us so much. We can use it in many ways to either to bring awareness on how we are, or to change how we are, and maybe how you can move on, or how you can explore the cycles and rhythms further. I would suggest that you use one thing. Maybe it's a breath, maybe it's a menstrual cycle, maybe it's a daily cycle, and yeah, check a few times a day, or make some notes during the month, how you are, how it is to be in relationships, how you are with your work, how you see things around you, how you perceive yourself in that different stages of the cycle. And as we said, what cycles really teaches us is that wholeness, that you don't take too much, that you start something, you do something, and then you reflect, and then you let it die. You let it die what it's not useful anymore. So you can start fresh. You can you can what I said before, expand time by having less things to focus on and to really enjoy and appreciate.
Thank you, Eva. Thank you. Yeah, as I said, I would, and Eva also said it, I would really encourage you to take one cycle and observe it, document it for a certain period of time, and then maybe add another and another, and small steps. and you will come far. We will come far. Okay. I think our time is up, right, Virginia?
It is.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, both of you, Eva and Ida, and everyone who is here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask everybody to unmute.
Mhm.
Thank you so much, both.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.